Okay, we are going to write our first program. And as you may or may not know, the first program that everybody writes is Hello World. From time immemorial, people have been writing code to say Hello World. Okay, at least since the computer age. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do Visual Studios. We're going to use Visual Studios 2019, Visual Studio. Normally what you can do is go ahead and create a new project. And I like to do it that way sometimes. Sometimes I like to continue without code. This is what I'm going to show you today because it's pretty easy and it's something you get familiar with the interface. Over here you can see the different projects that I've done in the past, but I'm going to go ahead and do continue without code. And you'll come up with this. This is the familiar interface that you'll get used to as you start doing Visual Studio. So here I got File, and as you can see, they're all the normal menus you have here. So we're going to do File, New, and I'm going to do a new project. Repository is something you're also going to do later on, but we're going to do a new project. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a new C++ console application. So over here, you'll see that there's recent project templates. They're the ones I've done already, but we're going to go over here because this is probably what you will have the first time you do this. Notice there are C#, Visual Basic, C#, Visual Basic, C#, and a bunch of other things. Now here's an empty project for C++. And then down here, you'll also see a console app with C++. Now I'm going to show you the console app with C++ because it's got a few things that are nice, but if you don't want to do that, later on, you can come back and try it with just an empty, wherever it went, empty project that's also C++. And I might even show that later on. But we're going to go ahead and do a console application, wherever it went. There we go. That's C#. Oh, I lost it. Okay. C++, come on. C++, shared. I shouldn't have gone back up and down, should I? There we go. Oh, there we go. Console application, C++. Okay. Now, you don't ever want to name it don't ever just leave it to console application 1. That's not a good name. We're going to rename this guy to Hello World. I am old school. I do not like to have spaces in my file names. And I like to use what's called camel caps or camel case, uppercase for each word. You can go ahead and leave it on the default location if you'd like, or what's even better is if you are using the cloud of some sort, you can go ahead and browse and then go down to your OneDrive and then make a folder for your Visual Studio stuff. Now I am not going to do that because I don't really want this one to save on my OneDrive, so I'll just cancel that part. But you should, especially if you are in my class, save it to your OneDrive. Okay, so I'm going to leave it to the default. Again, don't leave it on the default unless you want to possibly lose all your stuff if you have to reformat your computer or something. Okay, so save it on OneDrive is my message there. So we're going to go create. Uh-oh. All right, we need to, I want to create it. Product name. Oh, because I've already had one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this Hello World 1 because I just made one earlier called Hello World. I'll do create, and then now it should create a new project for me. All right, so notice there's these things called comments. The // is a comment. I can also do a /*, and then between a /* and a */ it's going to be comments. We'll put that in a moment. I'll just put name here, and I'll put in my own name. Then you have these things called pound includes. Some people call that thing a hashtag. Well, that's been called a pound sign for a lot longer than it's been called a hashtag. So that says IOStream. I'm going to use this thing called using namespace std semicolon. That stands for standard namespace. If you do that, you don't have to do this std : thing here down my main. Now notice that there's an int main. That's what you start with. And then we're going to do at the bottom here, we're going to do return 0 semicolon. Okay. Now, if you've watched some of my videos, you should know that output is going to be with couts or printfs. I usually don't like couts. I'll leave that one there though, and I'll do a printf. And then I'll do double quote, and I'll do the same thing. Hello, oopsie. Hello world. Again, \n, double quote, and put the semicolon there. Down here at the bottom, you notice that there are some nice little tips here for you. F5 will debug, run it in debug mode, or you can do Control F5. It's the same thing as hitting this triangle up here. Now, if you don't get this triangle up here that says local debug window, or Windows debugger, that probably means you're opening up a C++ file instead of a solution. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these comments. One more, get rid of that. Over here, well, let's move this out of the way. Over here, you'll notice that there's the source files. If you double click on this guy, or if for some reason it doesn't show up over here, you can find it over here. If I didn't have one here, if I'm opening up a brand new file, so if I had this guy closed up, or it wasn't there, I could always go right click on source, add new, or existing if it's there, but it's just not showing up. Add a new guy, and I can put a new C++ file there. But we're going to talk about header files later on and that kind of stuff. But I'll just hit cancel because we already have ours. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in a couple more includes. Pound include stdio.h and pound include conio.h. Okay. Those are for some of the other things we'll use later on. You're going to probably want to keep those in your back pocket. But anyway, I'm going to run this guy, and lo and behold, we should have our first program, Hello World. It'll come up in this nice console window. Look at that, Hello World with the cout, Hello World with the printf. They look exactly the same. It'll tell you can hit any key to continue, and then we're happy to do that. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here. We'll do another printf. Everything in between the double quotes is called a string literal. And so we're going to do, I don't know, let's, good day from Monroe. And then we'll do another \n into semicolon. Now we're going to do one more thing here. We're going to get rid of that guy, put a \n there, and then a \t. Now, if you listen to the videos about couts and printfs, you'll know that the \n and the \t are called control sequences, and the \n is a new line, and the \t is a tab. So when I run this, I should end up with hello world on one line, then hello world, or hello on one line, then a tab, and then a world on the next line, and then good day from Monroe on the last line. So here we go. We're going to run this guy, and we see, ta-da, hello world, good day from Monroe. I hit any key and it'll come out of there. Now, I want to show you one more thing. I always show this to my students in my classroom. I'm going to get rid of this little semicolon, and I'll try to debug it again. And when I do that, notice I get this guy. It says Visual Studio error. Well, that's what it says. It says the build errors. Don't ever click this button. Don't ever check this box, because you don't want to always do the last thing you did, build the last run. We don't actually probably ever want to do the last run. We're just going to say no, because we want to see our errors. Notice the errors show up down here. If they don't show up down here, you go up to view, and then you can go right down here to error list, and there they are. So, and notice people do this all the time. I see them in my classroom do this all the time. They click on the errors and then they go away. So you want to actually see the errors, so you click on that button if it shows 0 errors. Anyway, if you double click on the error, it should point you to where the compiler thinks the error is. Now notice it looks here, the printf, well, we know this looks really good, right? There's this squiggly bar underneath there. Well, if you read what it says expected a semicolon in single quotes. So, well, we know we could put it right here, but we want to put it right here at the end of our other guy. Notice also, I could double click here. This points to this guy. And that's when you double click on these errors, they will point to the line, or probably the line above. One of those two lines is where the error lives. So I can go ahead and put the semicolon there because I know that's what the problem is. Then I'll hit the run button again, and there it runs. And here it is. Yay, our first program, our first error, our first solution. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to make lots of mistakes. The more you program, you'll make mistakes every single day. Don't think of them as failures. Just think of them as the way you're going to learn. All right, one last thing. I like to go ahead and hit the Save All button, or you can hit the File, Save, wherever it is, Save All. You can just save the CPP file, but I like to do the Save All because that saves the project as well. When you hit the Save or the Run button, it automatically saves your C++ file, which is why there's no star over there. But I like to save it all anyway. All right, so last but not least, if you're going to make a new project, you can just close the solution and you'll come up with this menu again, and then you can create your project and go along like we did before. All right, so that is Hello World. That's our first program, and hopefully you had fun doing it. And again, you can refer back to this as often as you need to whenever you're making projects. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you later on C++ Miyoshi.